Have you been at a place in your life where you feel depleted, where you felt empty? Maybe you felt like you'd given a little piece of yourself away to everybody around you and you had nothing left for you. Maybe you feel that way right now. Maybe you have a girlfriend or someone that you love that is in that place and they're feeling spent and just tired, maybe burnt out, and they're wondering how to get themselves back again. Maybe you feel a little bit like this vine that I'm holding right now. I'm standing out in one of my favorite places in the middle of the beautiful vineyards, and you might be saying, beautiful, it's brown, and aren't those vines kind of dead and lifeless right now? They do look that way, don't they? I remember a couple of summers ago, my husband and I had the privilege of meeting the wonderful Kiepersol family out here during harvest time. And I have memories and visions of these vines billowing with beautiful green leaves and huge clusters of purple grapes cascading off of them. And Chris and I had a pair of shears, trimmers, and big buckets, and we went along with dozens of other people and trimmed the most beautiful bundles of grapes off of the vines, and they filled buckets after buckets after buckets. The harvest was plentiful, and every year these scraggly vines produce the most magnificent harvest of grapes, which turns into beautiful wines. When we look at our lives closely, we're a lot like these vines. We have seasons in our lives where we are working hard, we're producing, we're on fire, we're making it happen. We're pursuing the career, we've got the family, we're right in the middle of doing what we're supposed to be doing, and things are going our way. And then sometimes we're in a season of life where we hit adversity, or where we burn out, or where we're just plain exhausted, spent, and depleted. And when I look at these vines, and I'm standing in the middle of 20-something acres of beautiful vineyards, but the vines look lifeless and kind of dead right now. They're brown. There's not one green leaf growing on any of them. There are no grapes anywhere. And at first glance, it is hard to imagine that this could produce anything. But when you follow this branch all the way back to the vine, you see a very hardy vine that goes right down into the ground and has a root system beneath the surface of the earth that we can't see. And the roots are being replenished right now as we speak. They're absorbing nutrients, they're absorbing rain. Today we're blessed with sunshine, and they're soaking in the sun's rays and the vitamins and nutrients that come from the sun. On the top of the vines, they're resting. They're kind of just sleeping and being gradually replenished. But underneath the surface, this magic is happening. Why is that? Because these branches are staying connected to the vine. Now in our lives, we're a lot the same as these vines. The Bible says that I am the vine and you are the branches. And if anyone remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And so I ask you the question today, what season of life are you in? And are you staying connected to your vine? so honored to have spent some time with a woman who has been very impactful in my life over the last few years, Marnelle Durrett, one of the owners of Kiepersol Vineyards. And I am excited to introduce her to you. It's so cool how
I think you have a glue. You're glue. You connect people. You connect people to people, and you connect women to positivity. When you walk into a room, there's this just light that shines when you walk into the room. So let me ask you some questions.
Okay.
I know you're going to ask me questions, but I'm going to ask you questions
All
first.
right. Okay.
I want to know why you feel compelled to be that glue.
Great question. You know, my journey has been developing, as all of ours has, for quite a few years. And the last handful of years, I would say, I've really felt and experienced doors opening to connect women to women. I've seen how women need women, how we need encouragement, how we're living in a day and age, we're living in a time in history where there is this, I can do anything I set my mind to, mindset for women. I can have the career, I can have the kids, I can have the grandkids, I've got the spouse, I've got the business, I can spearhead this, I can be involved in the community. We're in a very yes age where there are a lot of messages that are being spoken to us that you can do anything you set your mind to. And where I think a part of that is correct, I think a big piece of that is not true and is misleading a lot of women into complete overload, complete depletion, complete just sadness at the end of the day, because they look back at their day and they see how they have run from the time they got up in the morning till the time they fall into bed at night, and they are just spent and empty. And so, I personally, Marnelle, experienced that. About 3 years ago, I hit some walls, and it had been a run in my life where I was chasing a career and really building a business and striking a bit of success with that, becoming a leader in my company, trying to be mentor, trying to be leader, trying to make the money, achieve the recognition. And all the while I had 4 kids at home. I was married, and I found myself gone more and more from home. And I started hitting some walls, just one after another. And I think they were wake-up calls. And I found myself just depleted. I found myself that exact description of what I just told you about. That woman that was trying to do and be everything to everyone. And I was a mile wide and an inch deep and just empty. And experiencing some health issues, experiencing some marital struggles, experiencing a teenager that was really having a tough time, that needed mommy around more. And so those things hit me, and they came over the course of about a year. And in that season, I stopped and pulled way back on everything in my life. I started being home more. I started trying to just say no to some things. I started to look at everything in my life and say, what do I really need to be spending? What is my purpose? What do I really want to be doing with my life? What was I created to do?
What is my purpose?
What is my purpose? And who was I created to be? Because I'm pretty sure I wasn't created to be Superwoman. I'm pretty sure I'm just not supposed to be that. But I sure was a woman that had a lot of goals, that had aspirations, that had desires to be successful, but to be more than that, to be significant. I wanted to live a significant life. And as I started having those conversations with other women, I found that a lot of women were feeling that same way. That was about the time that I was able to stop the busyness and finish my first book called Toes in the Sand. And I really began to express that season of life in that book. And then some other doors started opening, and women started reaching out to me, and I found myself in mentoring situations. I began women's retreats, and they would fill up because women were so hungry kind of take a break from all the pressures of life and just go and be still for a few days and get filled back up. Mm-hmm. So those became, I realized that was a very, important thing for women. And I just had the opportunity to write a second book and compile a second book with 13 co-authors. And in
all women.
All women. And every one of these amazing women had been through very tough journeys and seasons of life where they had experienced some really tough stuff, where the rug of life had been pulled out from under them, and they wanted to share about it with the sole purpose of locking arms with other women and reaching out and saying, hey, if you've experienced anything like this, I want you to know you're not alone. So that book has been a recent publication that just came out recently, and it has already touched thousands upon thousands of lives. We're getting a lot of beautiful, wonderful feedback from that. Women needing to know that they matter, that their story matters, that the pressures that they feel in life matters, that their thought process of who am I, and hey, I've got one life. I got one shot at this thing called life. How can I do the very best with what I have, this one big shot at it? What am I supposed to be doing? So all of these things have been developing in my life the last 3 or so years in a pretty heavy way. And Marnelle, I got to a place where I just knew that if I could define one thing or put my hands around one thing that I felt like my life's purpose was, it was to connect with other women, to encourage, and to help women connect with each other. Because, hey, let's face it, women need women. We talk the same lingo. We have a spirit of discernment, of intuition, of this God-given. It's a trait that we've been given as women. We have a sensitivity that causes us to hear what someone else may not be saying, mm-hmm. but they're really saying. And so my life mission now is to be that connector of women, mm-hmm. be that glue, and to just love and encourage women that they're special and they're worthy and they have purpose and they have a calling.
All women do. And men, yes. For that reason too, or for that. I think that's awesome. You said success, to feel success and significance. It's almost like your ministry, but there are women that are in places where they feel zero significance, zero success, or are striving for their definition. And there's so many definitions of success and so many definitions of significance. And having your child's eyes look up at you means that you are the most significant human being in that person's world, and the most successful. And I think as women, not only being everything you can to that child and showing that child, but then being called in the community or called to do more. But I have discovered this. I've just turned 40, and I've discovered that seasons really do exist. They really do. And you start off with this youthful, my whole world is in front of me, I've got plenty of time, make bad decisions, make good decisions, you're living day to day, and then you have children, and as time progresses, whether you build a business or you don't build a business, if you're employee at a place, or if you've never worked in the spectrum of the business world a day in your life, but you are a parent, you are a teacher, wherever your role is, or where you have settled, your role has settled, there is that time when you go, wait, is this what I meant to do? And without realizing it, I think every woman, every human being, no matter their circumstance, have gone through these perils, these times in their life where they're above and below and searching. And when they walk through that darkness and they end up in the light, they have a testimony. They have a story. They have a way to connect. They've developed wisdom. They have made the choices that tell the story to help either the next generation or their neighbor. And I find so much comfort in the fact that even without knowing it, we're living a purpose. Mm-hmm. And I think that's pretty cool.
That's really good. I agree. I think one of the big lessons that I've learned these last few years is to be present wherever I am. And I had gotten away from that. I was always focusing on what was down the road. I was always, booking the next meeting, and all that's important when you're building a business, no doubt about it. But I was brushing aside some of the relationships that were right around me that should have been the most important relationships in my life.
And what a lesson to people building a business too,
Oh, I was bringing my cell phone to the table, Marnelle.
It was going off.
Now. It was going off, and we 3 of our 4 children are grown and on their own, and one is still at home. She's 15, and we have a rule now, and it came because I needed the rule for myself, which is plug in your cell phone in the other room during dinner. Don't bring it to the table. Because here I was, every 5 minutes there was a text, there was a call, and I was feeling this. I guess there was some ego thing where I was feeling all important, like I couldn't miss anything or they couldn't go on without me. So that lesson of being present, I'm not saying I've mastered it. I'm on the road to learning that lesson of just cherishing whoever is right there in front of you, listening. Those are things I'm learning. Eye contact, repeating back, making sure I'm actively listening, mm-hmm. not just pretending to listen, but truly listening. Sometimes my 15-year-old will catch me and she'll say, "Did you just hear what I just said?" And I realized I was looking at my phone. There's something else had come in, and I'll close it up and say, "I'm so sorry. I just got distracted. Tell me that again. What did you just say?" So boy, kids keep us accountable, don't they?
Yes, they
do. They
do.
keep us in check. Yes, so it's really good that I still have one at home because she's helping me learn and be a better grown-up. So yeah, seasons.
But it's seasons. It takes that time, and I think that every human being is destined to make bad choices so that they can learn. And having a little bit of adversity teaches a lot better than just being fat and happy. Totally. You have to walk through a little bit of fire to come out better, and we can never identify that. You can never tell what that's going to be until you're like, I guess this is it. I guess this situation I'm in. I guess this deal that's happening, or whatever, this abusive relationship, or this, it can be from one end of the spectrum to the other. This is that thing, and sometimes we make it through, and hindsight go, that's what made me who I am. Or you're in the middle of it and go, all right, this is what's stretching me and growing me, and this is what I've got to get out of. And God has his ways of getting us through, and hopefully making it a little bit easier to the next generation.
Yes.
So
I've heard the term recently, a pivoting point in your life. That thing that makes you stop and go, you know what? I don't really like the direction this is going. Mm-hmm. I can't really change anybody else, but I can work on me. What do I need to do differently? How do I need to plan my day differently? Who do I need to spend more time with? What do I need to say no to? Really, at the end of the day, the only person we have control over is ourselves.
So true.
How can I change and be a better mom, wife, a business owner, leader, friend, sister, daughter, mother? How can I?
No pressure.
What can I do? No pressure.
No pressure at all.
Oh, I guess we got to end the show now. I was just taking a few seconds, replenishing my soul, having a little me time. Got to snag those times when we can. Thanks so much for joining today. I'm so glad that you've been a part of my Toes in the Sand TV show, and it really means a lot to me. I want to give you something in appreciation for you watching. My first book that I wrote is called Toes in the Sand, and it's my story from domestic engineer to entrepreneur. And I'd like to give you chapter 1, just to say thank you. You can jump on my website at stepwithlisa.com and just let me know that you want that chapter, and I'll be glad to send it right away. I also want to let you know that if anything today resonated with you, if you feel depleted, if you feel like your soul needs replenishment, but you need to get out of town to make that happen, I'd like to invite you to check out the Toes in the Sand Women's Retreat. About every 6 months, I take a small group of ladies, and we go down to the beach, and we put our toes in the sand for 3 days and 3 nights, and it is amazing. I just launched and opened up a new retreat that's coming this September, the 19th to the 22nd. I've reserved a beautiful condo, and you can see all the details again at stepwithlisa.com/retreats. I also want to invite you to connect with me because I would love to connect with you. Just jump on my Toes in the Sand Facebook page and let's be friends. Have a great day, and thanks again for watching.